here to celebrate the extraordinary gifts and talents that make each of us unique. I'm Ntando.
And I'm Hlelo, and we're going to share personal stories that inspire and showcase the incredible abilities that shape our world.
Welcome to Gifted.
Welcome back to Gifted with Hlelo and Ntando. Today is super exciting because our triplets is here.
Yes!
We're literally the same person. I'm going to speak about it on this episode. Our sister's here.
Our big sister.
Our big sister. We've never called you our sister-in-law, but for context, you're our sister-in-law. You've been a part of our family for 25 years.
Can you imagine 25 years? That's actually longer than what.
It's a person.
Yeah.
That's a whole
person that's married with kids.
Yeah. Basically.
Okay, so we're going to be speaking about sisterhood, and you are really gifted as well. So
many gifts.
We're going to be speaking about all your gifts and all the gifts that you bring to the family. So welcome to Gifted, Tish.
Thank you, girls.
Letitia Masina. You know when they say, when we're out together and they say, Mrs. Masina, I look for my mom. I'm like, what, mom? I'm like, oh, they're talking to Tish. I'm like, oh, you mean Tish?
Actually, I think for me, it's like Fortune's wife. That's the thing that people,
really?
they're like Fortune's wife, you know.
But you're so accomplished. Why would they even call you that?
I know, right?
I think
context.
Because I think your brother is like, I almost said more famous, but he's famous.
Okay, I hear
You
what
know,
you're saying.
Oh,
remember,
he's popular. He's popular. Is Fortune famous or popular, guys?
He's
He's both, because being popular is
Both.
like being liked. and
Yes.
being- if we're gonna take the word, like popular itself, he's likable.
Yeah,
you know?
he is very-
But,
So true.
but he is famous. But remember, he's also famous. But the face might not be the person they think he is. He's famous for a lot of reasons. He's famous because he looks like his brothers.
Yeah, for sure.
Please tell
Also.
that story. But how Tish always taking photos.
Fortune, though. So Fortune's not really as famous as
So
he thinks he
when
is.
we
He
are out
gets mistaken for Quentin.
Because when we are out and about, sometimes people think he's the naked DJ.
Right.
But he's so tired now. Like over the years, we've had this
You're
thing.
like, no, it's not.
He's like so tired of explaining that I'm not, and people then think Q is snacks.
Yes.
You know, because they think they bumped into Q.
Yeah.
You know, so he just poses for the pictures. I'm also at first I used to be like, wow,
Why?
that's so wrong. You know, but now it's like, you know what? It's the same face. So I'm that person. They'll be like, do you mind taking a photo?
Do you want to take a photo with naked
I'm
DJ?
like, okay, here we go, smile, come together.
Yeah,
And
That is so funny.
I don't correct them anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've also used this face to promote naked gigs.
You are
No
kidding
way.
me.
So
No.
clearly people think they look alike.
Yeah. So you become that photographer.
So one day, Kaylee, I told her that if one day someone says, oh, I saw naked is cheating with some black woman, she must just first check with me.
Yeah. Because it actually
Was it me?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it could have been,
Yeah.
Fortune and I. Yeah.
So we were actually sitting, just conceptualizing the episode and the direction that it's going to take. Do you remember when I actually SMS'd you and I was like,
Yeah.
it was actually a while back, and
Yeah.
you had already been on another podcast, but it was weird because you were already on the list. So when we saw you somewhere else, we were like,
She knows. Yeah.
we were like, you know what, it's okay, we're gonna have her anyway. But we were actually just throwing back to the time when, I think it was Easter, we were actually at your house, the entire family was at your house.
Last Easter.
This
was
Easter was
away.
Edith.
It was 3 Easters away.
Yeah.
3 Easters ago. Let me tell you, let me give you what happened. So when we were coming up with the episode, 3 Easters ago, do you remember we came to you and we're like, Tish, we were just playing around with an idea of having a podcast. And we ran some ideas by you. We were like, no, it's about family. We're gonna host it with Q. We're gonna have all the family come in one by one. We were just thinking about, we just ran it by you. And I remember you saying to us at the time, you were like, you guys, you have to do this podcast quickly because in a few months from now, I won't be available because I'm going to be doing the Metro FM Awards. Yeah. I was like, okay. Excuse us, But that's the kind of a woman you are. It's like, you're so creative, and we've always been able to come to you with the ideas that we have, but we're obviously not the only people who think you're creative. Obviously, many other people think that you're creative. And this is just an opportunity for us to just actually give you your flowers.
Give you your flowers.
Like actually give you your flowers, because I think a lot of the time people don't get their flowers until they're actually gone, you know?
Yeah.
And even being our brother's wife, because you also find when brothers get married and women come into the family, and I remember you for the very first time when we met you, it was at school.
Yeah, we were in high school. We were like 15 years old, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you know, before I even get into that story, you came into the family not to tear us apart. You actually came to build. And like I was saying, like, you know, they always say that Rahadis always have beef with the sister-in-laws, but for real, you came as a sister, as a big sister to us, and you built. So how do you make sure that you're able to build? So I still have my brother to this day. Like, I can call Fortune for anything. I've got my nephews and my nieces when I want them. You don't get in the way of anything. Mom and dad can get a hold of Fortune. So how do you make sure that you get into a big family and you're still a wife, you're still a sister, but you still make room for him to be able to be our brother still, and you be a new sister? How do you do that?
Wow.
I think it's not even something that I'd say I planned, you know. And maybe sometimes it's just one of those things about life. That's where I was meant to be.
Yeah.
It's like you guys didn't know you needed me until I was here.
We didn't know we needed a big sister till you came. For sure. It's true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just thinking of like a lot of other firsts, like me coming here. And I remember one time your dad was out, but I was here in the evening, and he came home, and he was so loud. And I wasn't expecting that from him, because I didn't really grow up with my dad. So that whole father figure thing, you always think the fathers are supposed to be serious and whatever. And then it was like an older version of Fortune and Ramesh. I was like, what the? And he was swearing. And I was just like, woo!
You know, guys. Yeah.
You know? And then your mom was calling one of you guys from like the private lounge.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I was in the kitchen and I called my mom. I was like, they are so crazy here. Yeah. It was like my first dinner, but at the house, you know. And she was like, what's going on? I'm like, firstly, Fortune's mom is like, I cooked Fortune's favorite and it was putu, and I don't know putu. It was the first time. So I was like, firstly, they cook pap that's not well done.
It's not, it's looking at you.
I was telling my mom all this. I called her, because, you know, it's just me and my mom. So she's like my friend. So she knew I'm coming to Fortune's house, you know, for dinner. And then so I just told them, I was like, it's a madhouse.
It's noisy.
But it was also so beautiful coming from just my mom and I, you know, and then coming, and then it's like so many people in the space. I mean, the house is big. Firstly, your house was so much bigger than my house. So there was just so much, you know, that I also felt like I comfortable even in that mess, you know, like I think it was just because maybe deep down I'm a little crazy.
Yes. No,
so
you are, Tish.
I just fit in.
What do you mean deep down? It's not deep down, it's like right there.
I was just like, it just felt like it's like a lot of people of different ages, but almost like friends. You know, like your dad, your mom. Your dad is like crazy. Yeah. Like, I think he's like one of my favorite people in life.
But you've seen when Tish and Dad are together.
Yeah, you guys get along.
I feel like in my other life, I think we knew each other.
Yeah, you're probably besties.
Because you guys can sit for hours. Like when the family gets together, you will find Tish and Dad sitting for hours just talking and talking.
So true. You know, and I feel like it just felt like both of them, like your parents, that is, they just welcomed me like I was always part of the family.
Right. Yeah.
And even when I decided to have a child with your brother, because, you know, he asked me.
Whoa.
I wasn't, I mean, I was modeling. Life was awesome. You know, I was at the peak of my career. And I remember we were in Cape Town and he was like, let's have a baby. And I was like, oh, what? I'm here modeling in Cape Town. And I think, then I was just like, yeah, I guess, you know, I thought about it. I was like, I like you guys, as in like the family. And I'm not gonna lie, I assessed the situation. I was like, if something happens between me and him and it doesn't work out, you know, I was like, I'm still cool seeing you guys in my life. That's how I decided to have my first
You
child.
are
It was
kidding.
based on his family,
Wow,
not necessarily
Tish,
him.
that's amazing.
You know, because guys can be a little.
Yeah, of course.
So it had to be more. So I just thought, I kind of knew, or like that kind of decision comes with like a whole family. It's a package. You know, if you guys are calling saying you want my child for like a party, I don't always have to feel like I must be there. Oh my gosh, protect my child from my in-laws or his people, because at the time you probably wouldn't have been. So that's how I assessed it, and I felt so at home. I felt like, you know,
Yeah, but also the first time we met you, you literally fit in like a big sister.
Yeah.
You came to our school with Fortune. When I say the story, do you remember?
I don't
this?
remember.
I don't even remember.
I
Guys, remember I was like in love. There was hearts.
I remember the story. You came to pick us up from high school, and Fortune was driving your car. I mean, I don't know if he had a car. We probably did, or he didn't.
Yeah,
He
we
just
had the cars around the same
he
time.
wanted to just show off your car, because you know how it is.
Yeah.
You does a maroon Uno.
Yes.
You came and you were like the hottest chick.
Yeah. No, but you have to paint the picture.
Like for sure, like you were tall, skinny.
Waist like this.
Yeah, your waist, you were like this tiny waist. Personality of note. Fortune just came. Like the thing is, we used to take like a maxi taxi home, but there were people who just come and pick us up.
Yeah.
So this was one of those days where we were going home by taxi as usual. But this time we walk out and it's you and it's Fortune, and we get in the car and Fortune's like, hey, this is Tish, she's my girlfriend. We're like, oh, okay, cool. And we had all the windows down. It was like a hot day. And we kind of recognized you because you were, I don't know if you were really into modeling at the time. I can't remember. But
I was.
But
Yeah.
you
Like
were,
hectic.
you were, yeah. And I just remember thinking, we were talking like, is she the girl? Like, do we get to school tomorrow and show off? Or like, do they recognize her? You know, but we hit it off from day one. Like, we didn't feel like Fortune shouldn't date you, or we didn't even feel like we should let him know that, no, she's not the girl for you.
On Ziggy's podcast that you were on,
Yes.
you guys spoke so well about the relationship that you guys have, and I think Fortune said it. Like, Fortune said the only reason why it works as well as it works is because he considers you guys, or not considers, but he feels like the bond is like siblings. It's a sibling kind of love. It's not just a romantic, let's take a walk every day because this is life, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he described it so well. He said it was like a sibling kind of love. And I think that's why I've never called you my sister-in-law.
It's weird.
You know
Yeah,
this.
no,
I'm explaining to
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Firstly, you kind of look like us.
I know.
How do you come here with the same hairstyle? We literally giving off the same vibe. Like for real, the top knot with the hair on this, you know, the same thing.
So I want to let her speak, but I've always considered you like that. Please, may I speak about the first time that I saw you, that I remember? It was actually at home, here at home. I was looking out the kitchen window. You know when somebody's coming, you can see them. You pulled up in your Uno, and there was like rock music playing.
Probably Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what song is this? And you came out of the car, and you had your little puppy with you on a leash.
Bobby. Was it a white, thing on a Maltese?
Yes. Yeah, and I remember thinking to myself, this is gonna be very interesting. That's literally my first thought. So I knew we'd bond over music because I mean it was high school. We liked all types of music. And you were stunning. I do remember you on all the magazine covers. You had literally your gift had taken you all around the world at that time already. So I was excited. I was like, oh, this model in our house, and my brother's dating her. But more than that, the big sister that you've become. Like, we call you Chief.
Like everybody, even mom and dad call you Chief. You're like Chief sister.
Yeah, you're so amazing and you're so humble. And I want you to speak, but I really want you to get your flowers, Tish. I wrote this down because, like Ntando said, in preparation of this episode, I realized that Quentin had said something on the Gifted Siblings episode. We spoke about the power of a sibling's influence, right? And he spoke about a sibling being a template, right, or a blueprint for his career choice specifically, right? And I actually sat down and wrote how you've been a template in our careers and in our lives. Can I please speak about our parallels?
It's so
Okay.
weird. So you were a template because when we were doing the episode and we didn't even
We
didn't even
Guys,
know it.
can we not have that kind of episode? Our eyes are red now.
Tish, I wanna say
amazing.
this.
It's
It's
amazing.
amazing. Okay, so your modeling, your gift, took you all around the world. You inspired us. I mean, we were also skinny girls as well. You inspired us too. You got us our first job.
Should we talk about the first job now?
Yeah,
not now.
No, I want to give Tish room to speak, but these are just the notes I wrote down. I said, your modeling took you all around the world, so did our entertainment career. You were a cover girl before we were.
Yep.
So because we saw you as a cover girl, we could dream it. Like, I saw it. It wasn't even like...
It was
far
reachable.
from- It was so reachable because you were...
It was in the kitchen with you.
Exactly.
Barefoot
You understand?
cooking.
Yeah. And it wasn't
Yeah.
like we thought because you were on a magazine, we want to be on a magazine. No.
No.
It just happened
It was an
like
option.
that. It was almost like we morphed into what you were showing us, and we actually morphed into it like naturally.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. You were a presenter on Mamepe. Like the OGs really know. Like you've been in the game
What you
for
know
a long
about
time.
Mamepe? What you know about Mamepe?
On Mamepe in the late 90s and early 2000s, you were acting on Backstage before we even appeared on, even like as guests on soapies. And you drove a Uno car. Guess who went and got Unos?
Oh my gosh, yes!
You
Oh,
know, so we went
wow.
and got Unos because our
You
big
had a
sister had a
Uno.
Uno as well, and so we're literally you right now. And right now, where we are in this present moment, we're working with our family, we're working with
our own production.
our brothers' kids, which are technically our kids. You're working with your family,
Like,
you work with your kids
are
as
you
well. You work
kidding?
with Fortune, your husband. Tell me we're not the same girl. Tell me. Tell me.
Now I remember when we used to do those casino gigs.
Yeah, Tish, I will never forget those.
Oh gosh. And people used to think we're either triplets or they were splitters. And one day they'll think you and I are the twins.
Yes.
And then you are the sister,
Yes.
the other sister, or it'll be like the two of us, just depending on maybe how
Yes.
we're wearing our hair or
Yes.
something like that. But that's actually so funny that besides the looks,
Right.
that there was so much that's kind of similar, I would say.
Right.
That's the same. But then again, it's not also surprising because they say you are attracted to people that are similar to your people. You know what I mean? It's like, especially when we have choice. So you attract the same tribe, the same characteristics. And I just feel like clearly Fortune also, he was kind of seeing like these features. He's like, he sees them every day. He doesn't know.
he was like,
yeah.
he's like,
And then he sees
why
me
do
and
I
he's
like
like,
her?
oh, okay, no, I like this look. He didn't know.
Meanwhile, his sisters have
Yeah,
exactly the same
exactly.
look.
You know, 'cause
Yeah.
it's the women in his life have that
Yes.
look, you know. And maybe you guys don't even know, but my granddad looked like Fortune.
No.
Yeah, on my mom's side. So when I
So I
first
think
took
you've
him
told
to
me
the rurals where I'm from, you know, the older men in the streets, like the other granddads, you know what I mean, that used to know my dad when he was young, they were like, hi, Blackie, because that was my dad's, my granddad's name. They were like, Blackie came back from the dead.
You are
They saw
kidding me,
Fortune
Tish.
and they thought they were seeing him. He was a light-skinned guy. He was tall. He was a chef. Well, Fortune's not a chef, but you know, he had that skinny, tall look,
Right.
you know, and when they saw Fortune, they just thought they were seeing him like all over again, you know, so clearly, even I, without knowing,
Yeah.
I kind of attracted the same people with the same features,
Yeah.
you know, and I think now when I see some of the photos, I remember one time there's a photo of us. I don't know if we had just picked you guys up at school or something,
Right.
but we're at a Wimpy and we took photos and it just looked like three
Twins.
people that looked the same.
No
You're
way.
kidding.
Yeah, like I must actually find that photo again. When I
no,
saw
you
it,
please
I was
find
like,
it.
"Hi, bro."
I get it
Did
all
I
the
look so
time.
much like these girls?
But
You
you've
know?
seen it when you've seen it like I'll post a picture or you post a picture and they're like, oh my gosh, you look like
Yeah,
the twins. Or
yeah.
like,
The kids.
Yeah,
Everyone-
Ugh,
even-
the kids
even
are
when-
worse. They
Yeah.
look like you
The
guys.
kids
I think
literally
that's
look
where
like
it's
us.
even worse. now,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, but I think that's kind of like one of the things that doesn't surprise me about how life has evolved is kind of like I attracted the people that, or the energy that I already am surrounded by at home, you know. And even at home, Fortune is like the eldest son now.
No, he is definitely.
Yeah, like my mom has always called him my son, doesn't say my son-in-law. At some point, because she and Fortune are light-skinned, so they look more like a family than me. You know what I mean? So people actually think I'm the daughter-in-law. Like people that don't really know the dynamics, they're just like, oh, okay, your daughter-in-law. She's like,
no.
What is that?
So special.
Yeah. So, and my dad has always called him Big Boy.
Wow.
Like, you know. So it's the same way you guys received me. He was received just as much. You know, like
so amazing.
I mean, you've seen him with my family.
Yeah.
It's like he's in there.
House on fire.
Gone. He's in there.
Yeah. I
Like,
love that. Okay, cool. So before we even touch on these, because I thought it would be interesting to bring this up now, but I want to speak about the role that you play as a sister-in-law in the family. So you were actually given the name Chief. You weren't even there when the name actually came up, by the way. So you were given the name Chief because of the role that you play as a sister-in-law within a family structure. You always show up, right?
Always.
Obviously, you're a firstborn. I actually wrote some of your personality traits that I found that actually gel with, makes sense for being a firstborn, only child girl in your family, and the kind of stability that you've brought in terms of into our family, right? So birth order really does fascinate us. We spoke about it on the Gifted Siblings episode. So some of your traits are trustworthy.
100%.
Tell me if you agree with any of them, Tish.
yeah, no,
Trustworthy, I know.
guys, you don't know. I'm a little bit of
Yes.
a snake. I don't know about the trustworthy.
No, I trust you.
From my perspective, this is how
Yeah.
we feel about you.
Yes. So
I'll agree or disagree as you go.
I
No, I'm
resonated with
joking.
these and I wrote them down because I know it's you. Trustworthy.
Just before you go though,
Go.
snakes aren't that bad. You know I do love snakes.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know
you
if you
do.
guys.
Yeah, we
knew.
always
I always
see your
wanted one
Thailand-
as
your
a.
Thailand
So when
pics
I'm
of the
saying
snakes.
that, I know people might think, ooh,
Yeah.
say that, but I don't look at it as
A negative thing.
as a negative.
Yes.
And I'm of the snake year, so it just makes sense
Oh,
as well
really?
if you're using the Chinese horoscope.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I also know
so
when you
I
were on
think they've got a
holiday-
lot of power.
Yes. Oh, really?
Yeah, guys, read up on it.
Okay. Read up about snakes. Thanks.
But we know about a specific snake in the book of Genesis, but we won't talk about that snake.
And you know what? Even that snake, though, we need to actually look into
We
it
need to look
deep
in that deep.
because maybe it was never given the chance to respond. You know what I mean?
No. You rebuke.
We rebuke that
Tish.
snake.
Trustworthy.
Yes.
Overly sensitive.
Ooh.
High achievement orientation. Trouble compromising. These are just traits. You tell me, right? Close with family. I said yes to that one. Strong bond with parents. You were also even close with your dad before he passed as well, and even our parents as well. Very independent. You
Yes.
also are very independent, and you've got a very strong sense of self and identity, and confident. You know who you are, sis.
Yo, no one can tell to
No one can tell you.
No one can tell who she is.
And ambitious, independent, difficult, manage conflict well,
Yes.
even within our family as well. Spoiled and well-adjusted.
That describes you, definitely.
It does describe, and I think that's why you got the name Chief, right? Because these are the kind of things that you add to the family. This is the value that you add to the family.
True.
Yeah, it's true. And it was one of our other sister-in-laws, Edith, who actually came up with the name. Like, you had been working overtime in this period, right? There was weddings, there was funerals.
Yo.
Sometimes even Tish knows more family members than we do.
Yeah, like Tish would come back from somewhere and be like, oh yeah, you know, I was with your uncle's wife. Like, who are you, Tish? Who are you talking about? She's
don't
like, no,
know.
I was in Pumalang. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
So
you
I
show
wanna-
up and on time. You're always there and you're always on time.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that name, Chief. Do you like that name, right? And what kind of responsibility do you think it puts on you as a sister-in-law and maybe other people watching as a sister-in-law? Like, do you feel pressure? How do you feel about it?
I actually have never thought about it like it's a.
It's a thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a nice thing to be chief, deputy, whatever. And
Yes.
I think for me, it even sounded like it came out of like a bit of a joke
Yeah,
one
it was
day.
funny.
It didn't feel, when I found out about it, it didn't feel like it was like deep, you know? Because even thinking about like the role I play within the family, I don't think about it. I'm just like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what needs to be done. All right, let's do it. And maybe it's an only child thing. Like, who's going to do it if I don't do it? So maybe I just have that attitude in life, or like, let's do it. And another thing is, I also feel like if you've made a decision to do something, whether you've taken a job to be a sweeper, you must just be the best sweeper those people have ever seen, you know? And that's how I attack every day of my life. I'm like, I'm waking up, and trust me, the day I don't want to like wake up and I'm feeling lazy, I'm going to be the best couch potato ever. Like, no one can even, but me and Uber Eats are like, here, Mr. Delivery. Like, I don't move, you know? And I made a decision, as I told you. I went into my relationship with your brother, my relationship with you guys, my motherhood situation, everything soberly. I don't romanticize such things, but I find pleasure in them. And I do find pleasure in doing something and someone loves it.
Yes.
I mean, that just for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like when we organized the Masina Fun Day at our house for that Easter, I was just like, I need to blow them away.
Yo, you did. Epic. Yeah.
And that's how I kind of engage everything I do. So, I mean, yes, when I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like it's a lot to do. When you mention the things I do, I'm like, gee whiz, yeah, it sounds like I'm an overachiever.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds heavy.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, when I'm in it, it's so much fun. You know, and I do what I want to do. It comes a little bit from a selfish place. You know, I want to do those things, and so when I do them, I don't find them heavy. I remember not that I'm a baker. I mustn't put out things where my kids are gonna be like, "Mom's a baker," but you know those mixes, the ready mixes.
Yes.
There was a time I was into making the muffins,
Right.
and there was a funeral in Mpumalanga. I don't remember whose funeral it was, and I baked those for the grannies because I noticed the grannies were always in the bedrooms eating the other cakes.
Yeah.
And I was like, imagine if they ate
The muffins.
muffins
Wow.
instead. Let's just say I cemented my chieftainship because I rocked up with chocolate muffins, like one bucket with chocolate muffins and one bucket
I'm sure they
with...
were like, this is chief right here.
Yeah, no.
it.
But you know, it's like I just had that idea the night before we had to go for the funeral. Well, it wasn't the funeral day, but you know, we go days before.
Right.
And I just did it, and Fortune was like, oh my goodness, Tish, let's just sleep. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
We know there's going to be enough cakes. You know, we've sent money.
That's Fortune.
We don't, just come sleep.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I know it's not really needed, but I know it'll just be a little...
Something.
But I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm trying to be better than the other Makotis or something like that. It's just, when it comes from that whole thing of just wanting to do. And I come from I was raised by my aunt and my mom, and they are actually that person. They have that thing. They give so much to the family. And I think I've just seen it with them, and that's just what I do. I do the same at work. I go 100%, or I don't. And that's another thing. If I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that we know about
I'm also
you.
as clear. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing
Yeah.
that. No.
Yeah.
Because I know that I don't want to go half, you know? Or I state how much I can do in that situation. If it's like, okay, this thing has to happen. And then I'll be like, okay, but I can't take lead. It's okay. And I feel like I'm the same person at work. Even though I'm the boss, I sometimes step out and like, okay, I'm not familiar with this space.
Okay.
And I think you are. So you advise, I'll support from behind.
Oh, I love that.
That's actually one of the qualities I love about you. You have so much self-control, and it's one of the things that I've had to learn over the years, and I learned it from you. So you know when to intervene, and you know when to keep quiet. So I can tell when you've had to bite your tongue. I'm like this. I'm like, Tish, she's gonna keep quiet. She wants to do something, but she's gonna keep quiet. But that's one of the best qualities you have. When it's time for you to step up, you step up. but I can tell there are some situations where you're like, this one, I'm gonna sit.
You just
out.
see it in my eyes. You're like, oh, okay.
I'm like, okay, and I can see it. Like
Yeah.
where you decide you could say something, but you actually decide to sit it out. And that's such a great quality to have, because a lot of people don't know when to keep quiet.
The same things you guys are talking about, someone else can look at me and say, she's such a pushover. Because they could look like weaknesses
Yes.
to someone else.
mean.
No, I've actually had those situations
I
where
see.
other people have even asked me, why do you let Mamang do this? And I'm like, I think I'll age fast if I walk around with a list of what people have done.
Yeah.
Tish.
The things, maybe opportunities that I know for a fact I built them, they should have been mine, and then someone takes them because I happened to speak before that there's this opportunity or whatever the situation. I'd obviously be upset, but I've learned, or maybe I've been gifted with that thing of realizing fast when something is out of my control. So I can let it go
Yes.
and move on to the
Yeah.
next thing
Yeah.
with a clean heart, to the point where if the person succeeds in that thing, I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't even mine.
meant for
Do you know what I mean? And be bold enough to say, well done.
Yeah.
Because they actually did it maybe even better than my vision for it. You know what I mean? And I think as I grew older, I've also realized that my turn always comes. Now I'm even confident to know when something's not happening, and I really was excited about it and it's not happening, whether personally or work-wise, I'm okay now, because I now know for a fact it's like a guarantee that my turn will come with the right thing, you know? So those things that you guys mentioned that might look like weaknesses, I just embody them fully, because for me, they keep me kind of at peace and happy every day.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to wake up dreading the next day, you know?
And you are such a light person. You're so light.
Anyway, we're going to speak about our clubbing days later on. Speaking of a light person, I want to acknowledge some of your work accolades. You are not a show-off.
No.
Yeah.
We asked, while we were researching you, we asked Fortune for like your CV or stuff you'd actually done. 20 plus years is a long time to work in an industry like this. So a lot of the stuff we had forgotten.
Yes.
So I just want to highlight some of the stuff maybe that people don't know that you've worked on. So it's quite a long list.
Really? Yes, it is long.
But some of your music show highlights that I've written here are you were part of the SAFTA Golden Horn winning long-running show Afro Cafe.
Yeah. That was a beautiful
epic.
show, hey?
Yeah.
That was a beautiful
I think
show.
like everybody enjoyed that show.
What I liked about what that show represented was like such a pure celebration of South African talent when it comes to music. And I'm saying pure because we didn't put effects on people's voices. It was like you came in, it was live. It will expose you if you couldn't sing.
Yeah.
And after a while, when the brand grew, it became a show people knew if you've been featured on Afro Cafe, you've made it. You can be booked for live events.
Whoa,
And to be part of such a show, you know, it was like, it's such a beautiful, it was such a beautiful experience. And we treasured that, you know, to say, I mean, we know like everything comes to an end eventually. But we treasured that and how we handled artists as the music industry also evolved and live music ventured into now dance. So, because now we could have other, because remember it was jazz,
Yes,
jazz
it was.
artists only when we started. But now you could have other genres. There was like the Afro pop bloom, and those people
that.
could come
love
and
that.
perform
I
on
love that.
Afro Cafe. Because if you could perform with a live band, to the point where we used to have musical directors get like rappers. So they would like work with a house band per se, so we can even have rappers. Because at the time, the rappers never used to have live
get a
performance.
platform. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So
but
to
as
be
we
inclusive.
so it was such a beautiful, because as much as it was like a live music show, it was every season was now different.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because as long as you could perform live, now you could be on Africa. So it was like I really enjoyed it. You know. My
And I
time
think
on the show.
everybody remembers an episode.
Yes,
of Afro Cafe.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
I think when the president of a country says to your presenter, "Hey, I love that show,"
And you're like,
the Afro Cafe. You're like, "Oh wow!"
Yeah. Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's quite a long list, but I know you're the technical director of the Metro FM Music Awards this year and last year as well, which was magnificent as well. The Come Duze Live, the Channel O 25th birthday celebration, and other TV shows in Tanzania, Kenya, and Nigeria. And this was also quite a funny one for us, but other shows that you've also touched are content developer on Trending SA. Yes, yes, guys. Did you guys know that? I know you guys didn't. And an executive producer of I Blew It.
Guys, I blew it really, guys. It just revolutionized
Entertainment.
It was real.
Yeah, it was that show we didn't know we needed.
That show really showed that we all can have a plan. Like I'm sitting here, I can start judge. I don't judge anyone that has blown their money because we had people from different backgrounds. You know, like some people were middle class, like earning their bucks. And then when they got that money, it's like, I remember one of the grannies we interviewed and her grandchild was the one that blew money. And she was like, it was like a devil. Money became like the spirit in her grandchild's life. And there was a girl that once said like, when she said she would go to sleep, and she would wake up in the middle of the night to check the app. The money's still there. And it was like months in and she's still
making sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just, and the people were basically saying if you've never actually kind of tasted that, having those zeros in your account, you can't even say anything about it.
I can imagine.
You know, because it's like a wild ride. Yeah. And it just actually also taught me a lot of things about life.
Yes.
And I remember, I think on the second season, we featured some soccer players, sports people that used to have like obviously like a lot of just money all the time.
Right.
And then you see, you like it's the same. You know, it's the same for almost everyone. It's like a few don't blow it, you know. But most people do, and most of us blow just our salaries.
For sure.
It's like most of us actually on a monthly basis, you blow your salary. Because as you get older and you look back and you see your budget, if you've ever attempted one, you're like, I could have done better with that budget.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? So it means years ago, I used to blow my money, you know? So that was actually quite a good show.
The tweets, because I mean, the show, it trends all the time when it's on, you know? And the boring episodes, well, when it was still trend, but the boring episodes was when no one blew it. When the money came and then they built a house for their family, they took so-and-so to school, and everyone's like, okay, guys, don't watch it, it's boring today. They're using their money wisely.
They gave their granny money.
They're like, don't watch, it's not on. But I remember we used to go to Ansley and Edith's house and we'd binge that thing.
They loved it.
Yeah, like we would just sit and like watch how people are binging this money, and you know Ansley's into numbers, and that thing would make him angry. Now he's mentioning numbers, like we're like, bro,
Chill,
it's not
bro.
for you to punch numbers and tell us about interest and what, and like after like episode 3 or 4, like per night we're like, guys, we need to switch this thing off because we're angry now.
Yeah,
it's like, why didn't I get the money? You know?
I know, it's crazy because there's also some people that had actually kind of gotten money 3 times in their lives and 3 times they
I saw one of the episodes, yes.
I'm like, how do you win the lottery 3 times?
It's just, firstly, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
We all have different talents.
Yeah.
Money management. That should be taught in schools, by the way. It's something Fortune and I, we always feel like the school system isn't practical. You know, our kids are always like, why don't you want us to go to school? I'm like, no, you can go to school.
Yeah.
I feel like what's good about school is networking and connections.
Yeah.
I'm still telling my kids now, like when the ones that are still at school, that just like keep these numbers. These are the people you're going to work with later in life, you know. And my youngest daughter was saying, only one of her friends is taking the same subjects next year as her, the others aren't. I'm like, that is good.
Yes.
That you get along with other people that are interested in other things,
stuff.
you know, because you don't want the same thing.
Yes.
You know, like where you are actually going to have to compete or you must get into business together. And it's good when you have someone that's in finance, someone that's in entertainment, someone that's in logistics, someone that's in travel.
it.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because tomorrow when you have a company or you're running your own thing and you need vehicles, you call your friend from school, you know. Tomorrow, when now your books, you don't know what's happening, SARS is knocking, you call your friend from school.
Oh, I love that.
So now I forgot why I was making that point, actually.
We were just speaking about I blew it and the money management. That
Oh,
not
yes,
everyone
I'm
has
saying
the
that
gift of
even
managing the
money
money.
For networking.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like also just looking at how Fortune and I run our household, we're so different. I always felt like if he wasn't in my life, I'd be like maybe one of those women where people would be like, "Ugh, she needs to get laid or something. Because I'd be like upset
Pedantic,
all the time. You know, like when you have like this. No, because I don't really spend money. I don't really, because I don't find, I'm okay in my own space. I don't need to go out. I don't need to dress up. I was telling you guys, I only wore this dress last time with you guys.
Yes.
It was the first, this is the second time I'm still with you guys. It's like somehow I just don't have, I don't know, interesting places to go to or whatever. I just have interesting people. But if I've seen you like this, I don't have to go see you at a club tomorrow.
Oh, got it.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't really, I think I spend my money on vacations.
Yes.
You guys know that.
Oh, yes.
On vacations and food.
Yeah.
That's hair.
definitely,
And
yeah.
hair. Yes, and hair.
Yeah. Food,
That's
hair,
hair and vacations. That's where I spend my money. And I experience a lot because your brother's in my life. Thank God. Because then I wouldn't even book the vacations, even though I like them. You'd be like, how you haven't spoken about us going somewhere
So long.
for a while. And then once I'm there, obviously now I'm like, okay, I found a place, you know.
So
But
does
I
Fortune
wouldn't.
add in this relationship? Is he the one who's adding the vavavoom?
You know what your brother's
spice?
line is?
What does he say?
If a bank account, if we had like 10 rand, and then somehow when we checked again it's 9 rand, he's like, we might as well spend the 9 rand. Because it's like, let's round it off to 5. Let's spend 4. Let's round it off to 5 or something. Like, it's like, for him, it's like he must experience and experience and experience all the time. He's always like, sometimes I'm afraid to say we have money. Because I'm like, he'll be like, no. Actually, you know when you open the scroll, like, actually, there's things I've been meaning to experience with you, with the kids, with whatever, with, you know. And I think that's the nice balance because I wouldn't leave the house otherwise, except for work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and you guys work together now at Wife and Hubby Creative. We were actually going to call this episode a slash and say the gifted creative or the gift of creativity because you have this thing with your mind.
You're so creative.
You can just something that's in your mind, put it to life, and you've always had that.
Yeah.
You guys have your production house, your creative agency, and you guys have a brand new show. I want us to talk about it because it's Women's Month, and it's out, The Gift of Sisterhood, and we've got Her Story Season 2 that's out now. Simpiwe Abdana's episode we will have already missed, but there'll be other people on here. I love how you are also celebrating women as well.
Yeah.
Please talk about this season.
You know, that show is it's such a beautiful show. And,
it is.
And it's one of those shows that, like, every time one of these ladies decide, you know, to tell their story, it's such an honor to be in a room and to hear them narrate their story. And I think also one of the weirdest thing is when you see how sometimes when they tell their story, they're just telling a story. They don't think, or I don't know if they don't think, but it's like they don't realize how epic the journey has been, you know? And when you sit there and you see someone that the world puts up there, and then you meet them at a level where they're just sitting like this and then just talking to you, you then appreciate the hard work that goes behind what looks just glamorous and easy and all that. And it's been an honor for Fortune and I to actually have engaged. I mean, by now we've engaged 8 ladies over the 2 years, you know. And each one of them, from the 22-year-old Nomfundo Mo, I mean, she was like the youngest one.
Yes.
Each story, when we walk away from it, you've learned so much about just what's the word?
Perseverance,
Yes, and passion.
Yes.
And these ladies know who they are.
Yes.
You know, but they don't claim to be perfect. And I think that's the beautiful thing is when they share with us, it's not those interviews where they're selling an album. This is when they talk about themselves, you know, who they are, where they come from, what makes them tick, and the things that probably us as fans, we didn't know they had to conquer behind the scenes, you know. And also, like I said, the things when you realize they say them so easy because when they're busy walking their daily lives, making decisions, they don't think they're building a legacy, you know. And then Rona, when we research them, we're like legendary, iconic, and whatever. And then they're like,
Oh, really?
Let me. Yeah.
and then on our call sheet, we call them the icon.
Yeah.
You know, so the time the icon is arriving, and they're like, the icon?
It's like, yes, it's you.
You know, because I think everyone is always looking at someone else as their icon, as their whatever, but we don't walk around thinking we are icons for those behind us or those on the sides. Because it doesn't always have to be all those older.
Yes.
Because my mom watched Yena Nomfundo Mo's episode and she was like, what an inspiring story. Just at her age of being 70, she was still feeling like, oh my goodness, I could actually still do so much in life, you know? I mean, like your dad wrote a book.
Right,
Also,
at 70.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's like the stories are so inspiring.
Yeah.
We are so honored to have these ladies agree to their stories to be told. Actually, one of the biggest challenges producing that show is trying to just stick to the hour that we have, like on air.
Wow.
Because how do you squash someone's story into an hour?
Yeah.
Especially when they said, I'm always like feeling like, oh my gosh, can't we have like a part 2 broadcast somewhere else? You know, because the nuggets that they share, it's like, I feel like, people at home have missed out on certain opportunities, you know,
Tish.
and stuff. And then I also realized that we don't document our stories enough. And we look back and now I'm like, oh gosh, wouldn't it have been great to have Double HP's story?
Yes.
Like while he was still there to tell it and stuff, you know, those kind of things. And I'm just like honored to be part of a show that does that now. Sometimes even shock the person when we pitch them the idea of we're going to tell you stories. Like my story, I'm still busy with it. And like, no,
You've come a
we'll
long
probably
way.
call you in 10 years
we'll
for
call you
more,
again.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's a beautiful show that I'm really honored to be a part of. Yeah. Oh, and then the ladies, it's Simpiwe Dana, it's Unati, it's Zolani, and then it's Zamajobe. Yeah, I know. And the music.
Yeah.
Because it's also another live band,
Yeah.
you know, set up, and it's just so awesome. It's just so awesome. And like we've met their families, you know, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And I think once people let you into their families, like even us, we thought, I mean, this is a new season for us also, a new season of our lives.
Yeah.
And family is very sacred. So to even have you guys, to have you here and have our family here, it's a very sacred space, you know, allowing people to see what happens behind the scenes, and even having those ladies come and give you that. They're literally giving you a part of them, and for them to give it so easily, it's humbling.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a humbling thing. And I think they are giving the story to the right person. Have you ever had, I mean, we've been working in the entertainment industry for so long also. It's almost like, I mean, I've shared stories with people who now looking back never deserved it. You know, they're sharing their stories with you. I mean, Tish, you honor people, you respect people. You know, you wouldn't put them in a light where it would make them look bad. Maybe they said something or maybe looked a certain way. You wouldn't put it out there if you felt like it would embarrass them, put shame on them. And so I'm selling it for future seasons. You are the best person to share a story with.
Yeah.
You're so humble.
Like a little egg like this.
You don't look down on people. You don't judge people. So to have them talk to you, I wouldn't, if I was a singer, I would want to come and talk to you about my story because I know how much you would respect my story, and honor my story.
That's true.
I don't remember, but one of the ladies did say something like that, to say like they love how we handled their story and we made them so comfortable. Obviously, this is like from season 1, you know. So after like the feedback and it's not easy for people to share their personal space, by the way, like people in the industry, as you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I realized as she was saying that the reason Fortune and I can handle this kind of content is because we are from those families. And we've seen how people can say something that will be so harming emotionally to someone just because they're on TV or on radio or on magazines. The things people used to say to me, they'd be like, when I used to model, you're not as pretty as you are on the magazines. And you're just like, guys, I've got makeup. Firstly, it's not even my face.
Yeah. You see your mask.
I just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, like your lips are not like really like the, and then you're like, oh my gosh, guys. So coming from the industry in a way, I think it makes us also sensitive to like when people share. Like there's one of the ladies that we needed like supporting footage so that as they speak, we show moments in their lives through pictures or videos. And she literally gave us 4 drives of her personal from birth, her giving birth, her whatever. And we obviously were sensitive. Yes, she's giving us everything. But we can't put everything onto you. We know, like I know as a mom, I mean, I'm not going to put that. Even though she shared, and I know she shared knowing we wouldn't.
Yes. You'd respect
She knew we were looking for certain moments, but she didn't have time to sift all these drives and find the moments. And she trusted us. And even the people we work with, when we gave them the drives, we actually didn't even have to say to them, you be sensitive.
Yeah, you
like
just were.
Everybody that we surround ourselves with, they understand that for us to be great, we need to be trusted by those that we deliver the content to and we actually showcase on the shows. Because it's a two-way thing. We have a client, but then we are who we are because of the people that allow us to tell their stories as well. So even when I did that show where we renovated kitchens and bathrooms with Titi.
What is it? Mzansi Cribs Makeover.
Yeah. So even with that, like people, we're coming into kitchens and they're falling apart and whatever. It's like people might not want you to show this.
Oh, I get
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But it's the way that we handle that content with dignity. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, with dignity. Because remember, someone else nominates you. So you don't even know who is bringing cameras.
Oh, snap.
So it's a bit, you know what I mean?
It's invasive and someone may feel shame about it.
Exactly. So, but it's in the way that you handle people's stories when they open up that people trust you, and even when you're showing that this is the before and the after, it's with dignity that you show the before and the after.
Yes.
You don't have to go in there and have them be blasted on Black Twitter.
Oh, understood. So I want this conversation to come back to family. You work with your mans.
Your man.
Your man. How's it like working with your husband? I know you guys have dabbled together in the past a lot, but now you guys are together all the time. You're producing TV shows. How is that, Tish?
It's great, eh?
It's great.
No, I love it. I mean, talking about the past, he's been my client. Like where I walk in somewhere and we're pitching and he's on the other side of the boardroom.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've also been his client before, where like he had to.
So, yeah, you've been his client.
In the boardroom, guys. In the boardroom,
Yes, in the boardroom. Yeah. And we've also collaborated before on other projects, So now that we're working together, it just became easy, Nji. We run the company the way we run the household. It's the same way.
Yeah.
I'm good with money.
Yes.
So,
that you are.
Yes, that you are.
So I handle the finances, and he's good with coming up with ideas of what to do. So he handles the creative. And then we kind of meet in the middle because we have the same target, and so I think that makes it easy because there's clear kind of lines of who runs with what and who runs with what.
Cool.
So as much as maybe we're doing a creative workshop, and I know at some point he's going to have to make the decision if we have two creative ideas, which one we go with, unless I can motivate him that the other one that is better, and then that just makes it easy.
But
and your kids, and your kids as well, because you're also working with your children. I find it
the
fascinating.
originals, half of the originals.
You know, I find it fascinating because people find it shocking. I've literally worked with you and collaborated with you our whole lives.
Yeah.
I've actually worked with, come to think about it, I've worked with all my brothers.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
We used to work on the show with you.
We
as
worked
well.
with you.
Actually,
Yeah, we worked with you.
Yeah.
But now it's almost a different spin now because there's a new generation that's coming up. It's your children.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, they're also doing big shows as well.
Yeah.
So how is that?
How's the dynamic there?
Because
I
now
think
you're a
it's like-
mom.
It's I don't know. It's easy for me. I've worked with Mwedi.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very easy for me because I'd like to think of myself as a fair person.
You are.
So as much as I've worked with family, I actually work with people based on what they are capable of delivering.
Merit, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
And I've never had that issue of because you're my friend or because you're family, so hands off. I've just never had that attitude because, I mean, it's the same advice I'm giving my younger kids
your
now
babies.
to say these are the people that you're going to work with when you grow older, because you know their integrity, you know them, you know when they're slacking, you know faster. I don't even have to be like you're Shasha. I'll know quicker. The girls are not the right people for this gig or something, you know. And I've fired family. And then I still cook them dinner the next day.
Yeah, because
at work I'm at work.
business. Yeah,
and that's like how Fortune and I are like. At work I'm at work.
Yes.
And if we have a debate about work, we're gonna have like a glass of wine later together. And it's like we moved on. We sorted that was work.
Yeah.
We're done with it. We there's no blurred lines.
Tish, speaking of that, I have a very interesting personal story. We once worked with you on a production before, right? But you know the energy that Ntando and I bring to any environment. And we were helping with content, right? We were doing content for something. You remember the story? And I actually, and I actually remember, I don't know if it was Pepsi or if it was you who had called us to the office and you were like, guys, when you guys come here, you talk too much. Nobody works. When you guys come
The
here,
girls have to stop coming to the office. I was like, no.
I was like, bosses actually want the employees at the office. You were like, stop coming.
Stop coming.
Yeah, I was like,
Email the stuff, because when you guys come, everybody just talks. So I do agree with what you're saying when you're like, no, you can actually call someone to order. You can actually say, hey, this is the line. So I'm sorry we did that, but I'm pointing out that you are actually fair, and you are fair. Also like, but we didn't talk too much.
you guys were like hectic.
No, we did.
You know,
we spoke a lot.
and it's funny because my kids are not like that. They're behaving.
Oh.
To the point where people, like, on set, some people didn't even know they were my kids.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Then they
Only
must
like
be-
other people when they're like, this person looks like Fortune.
Yeah.
Looks like you.
yeah.
Yeah. Then it's like, oh no, that's my son, that's my daughter, you know. But they like, I think maybe one day when you host them, you can ask them, maybe they feel they have to achieve more.
Probably.
I don't know,
It's
maybe
different.
can say. I don't know if there's pressure of if your family member is running the ship, you feel like, you have to be a co-captain of it or something like that. But I feel like they give 100%.
They're excellent.
We very tough where we feel like, no, you could have delivered better. We give feedback. They give us feedback, that's for sure.
Oh, really?
They're not shy about like, well, you could have briefed that in better, ma'am.
Are you for real?
And it's like, ooh.
No.
Yeah.
We have like those franks. Same way I am with Fortune. When we're at work, the kids, you know, they it's not like mom and dad. They also speak to us like that. And we also respect, because remember, this is like young blood. And we do shows that target their age.
Yes, you do.
So they actually make us look good. We get in there and we know the slang. Or we know the cool things, you know? And now we pitch with them. Like, actually this year, they both have pitched shows with us.
That's
is
excellent.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
is so cool.
Kopano was directing one of the SABC One shows that we did, the Source,
The Source.
that he actually also helped put together in terms of creatively when we were coming up with the idea.
That is so cool, KP.
And then
Shout
Butsilo
out
also
to KP.
and Butsilo just pitched another show with us now. I can't talk about it yet.
Yeah.
Hoping we get it. but
is so
she was also
cool.
at that pitch. So it's actually awesome. And I know a lot of people in the industry, they're always asking us, like, how did you get your kids to work with you and stuff? And I was like, it's because we don't put pressure on them to kind of take over the company. So they don't come there thinking, "Ish, these guys are going to think we're going to run this company." It's like there's opportunities, you have talent. Our kids have always had, but I think it's a Masina thing. You guys all have this entertainment bone.
Yes.
You know,
And
I remember even just them doing speeches at school. They were like, their speeches were always so funny and always so like, teachers would be calling me.
Yeah, but they're so great. Your kids are great. Not because they're my nephews and nieces.
Yeah.
They're so great. Oh my
Because
gosh.
they're so bold in expressing
Yes, they
themselves,
are.
and they are entertainers deep down.
They are, definitely.
So let's just say we hired the right people. We're looking for that age group. I mean, where do I go far? You know, I mean, of course, in the family, like, I've always asked like all the young people to come to my workshops. Everyone is set in workshops and stuff and whatever, because I know that great ideas come from, especially if you're targeting that age group, you need to be speaking to them.
Right.
It's that thing where I say, I don't claim to know everything.
Yes.
You know, like at certain times you need to step back and let the right people in the room speak. Yeah. So it's actually been an honor because, but you know, I don't just work with my kids. I work with my aunt. I work with my cousin.
Like you
I work with everybody.
You walk on one of your sets, and you know everyone. Oh, so did you get that from mom and daddy? Yeah, mom. So did you make sure you spoke to sponsors? Like, okay, guys, everyone is like, everyone is there. You know,
It's funny because everyone
these two
posts.
can also relate because you guys also work with your dad. You guys have recently worked with your dad on another project, so
Yeah.
I'm sure this.
Yeah, you walk on set, it feels like you're at home because everyone's
Yeah.
like, why does everybody look the same?
Why
I
be
know.
fun
And
and
like, why are you calling your mom? KP was like, what should I call her? She's
like,
my mom.
Mrs. Masina.
No, because guys, I'm cool, hey. I'm like a cool person. So they're
Yeah.
thinking this man that's taller than me is like, mom.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I mean, it's okay. He must call me mom. I'm
Yeah.
his mom. We're not hiding that.
Yes.
You know, like,
Yes.
and I think the name of the company just helps us. You're hiring us.
Yeah.
You know, you could be seen
Yes.
there.
Yes.
People must just know. They must just be like, oh, the twins are working with Tish. It's like
Exactly.
it's a
It
family
is what it
affair.
is. It is what it is.
Because we are that family. So, I mean, I think if we were a family of chefs, why am I hiring a chef at the restaurant? We must just all alternate.
put together.
familiar.
Do you know what I mean? If we're a
Yes.
family of plumbers, that's what they do, by the way. That's why they
Yes.
always have like whatever and sons.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like in the entertainment industry, people are so afraid.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To work together.
Build
Yes.
together.
And to build together. And I'm
Yes.
just like, no. And I'm glad that we've actually have always been like that.
Yes.
So I used to work with Ramesh at some point, remember? So
Yeah, back in
it's
the
like,
day.
yeah,
Yes.
like
And
we've
Quentin.
always, I've already worked with Quentin. You know, the other day I was saying to Edith, we need to do our cooking show, like
Ooh,
for kids.
I'd watch.
Because I filmed her doing something in the kitchen
You
with
are
the little
kidding
kids.
me.
I
And
can't
she's
wait to
actually
see it.
kind of beautiful on camera, like just her energy.
I'd watch.
I'll definitely
watch.
be there for it.
Yeah.
And also what I can appreciate about you is also just letting us in on some of the projects. Okay, well, because you're humble and you move in silence, which we love about you. Because some shows we won't know about until like they come out, and we're like, hey, when did this show happen? But there are some shows where you're so generous enough to have us sit in on them. So we'll all sit together and conceptualize
creative,
and come up with presentations together. You have such a generous spirit. Tish. Like, you know. If I could live this life again and they asked me which sisters, choose your sisters, I wouldn't replace you. I wouldn't replace you. I would be like, I want to choose first. Just to make sure that no one chooses you from the list. You've been such a blessing to the family.
Yeah.
And when I told you this, when we reached out to you about the podcast, I was so shocked. You were like, are you sure you've got the right sister? I was like, come on. I was like, Tish, who am I supposed to, like, are you kidding me?
No, because I didn't think, you know, like just out of all of us, the
Yes.
sisters, I didn't think like, you know, the title, I thought you'd call me for something else. I actually thought you'd call me maybe work-wise, like to be like industry something, you know, like
okay. But
I
we
knew
touched on it.
eventually I'd come to the
yeah.
show. But I when you said sisterhood, I was like,
How?
Some of the sisters have that sister thing.
Yeah.
No, but you do.
I didn't think.
for 25 years. That's more than we've
But
been.
remember, I don't walk around thinking I'm being your sister.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
It
I know.
comes naturally.
I
I know.
even showed
I
Fortune
know.
the message. I literally showed him, even with my response,
Yeah.
and she was like,
Yeah.
she's like, no, I think you'd be
you
good.
would be
Like,
Yeah, like
and
you're
I
a
was
big
like,
deal.
I
Hello.
don't know. I spoke to my lady. She's like, no, mama, like, you're a good sister. Like, I was thinking, oh, okay. Wait, okay. Because I was like, what are we going to talk about? Like, it's not like I grew up with siblings. I only found out later I have siblings.
you actually
know? So
have.
I was like, this whole sister thing, I don't know. Like, am I really a good
No,
sister?
you are a good sister, Tish.
You
Like,
know?
come on.
No, you are. You are. Like,
if
like
you-
we're saying, they certain. You don't have to say, "Hey, now I'm gonna be a sister."
sister now.
Hey,
It's just
like
yeah.
the memories that we have. You did both of our makeup at our matric farewell. I remember one time. Yes, I remember even when we went clubbing. I actually remember when we were starting to grow up. I mean, you are older sister. I remember you were I even remember the lesson that you gave us. Don't watch your drinks. Make sure your drinks are, that's big sister
that's big
talk.
sister stuff.
And I never forgot that.
Yeah.
So no, the impact is huge, sis.
Yeah, I think maybe I just looked at everyone as like we're just friends.
Yeah,
It feels. It doesn't feel like it feels like a friendship.
Yeah,
It
it's
does.
it's very easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
to be part of the family. I must say, like, it's very easy, and I think that's one of the things that make it such a beautiful experience, like this life. Like I was saying to Fortune, I'm like such a happy person. Like, I
You
have
are
no
definitely.
issues with anything. Like even when something, like I said, feels difficult, I'm just like, our time here is so limited.
Yes.
I'm not gonna be like thinking, oh, if something happens to me when I leave here, this moment is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything I do, when I'm in the car, I don't know how many times people have gone, because when I'm in the car, whether I'm in
jamming.
traffic, I'm like, yo, like, but I'm in traffic. I'm one of those happy people in traffic. I just don't have time to waste. And I want to make sure that everything I do is easy. And so I communicate very clearly what I like and I don't like. And also I leave room, I think, to also understand that not everything is in my control, So I do get disappointed, but most people don't think I do because of how quickly I take it on. I'm like, okay, shucks, it's not happening. Like if you guys had said we're not doing this interview today and I went and did my hair, my nails, everything, I'd be disappointed, but I'll probably be like, okay, cool. Now let's go out tonight.
Yeah, let's do something
I have
else.
a dress, I have
Yeah.
it's like I'm very quick to recover from those
Bounce
situations.
back
But I'm
strong.
also intentional about that because I feel like the more people stress about those kind of things, the more they also don't live a healthy life. They also don't, So I'd love to live long enough to go back to drinking one day.
That's an episode for another day. Tish, we need a part 2.
We'll get to the apple schnapps. The peach snaps. The peach snaps. We'll get there one day.
We'll get there one day. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you girls for having me. It was so beautiful.
And maybe we'll do a part 2, but maybe we'll bring the other sisters as well.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Is the world ready to see us like that?
Well, we've already tackled the loudest one of the group.
Yes.
We had our little sister getaway. Let me tell you. Remember, we had the
Masina
Masina sister slumber party a
Yes,
couple of weeks ago. I came downstairs. I think I was one of the last people to come downstairs, and I was like, "Where's Tish?" It was so quiet. I mean, I was like,
it was quiet.
I was like, "Where's Tish and where did she sleep?" Because I couldn't smell eggs. There was no egg smell, and it was quiet. I was like, "Tish is not here, and I'm worried." But immediately when you stepped into the house, I was like, "There she goes." There she is.
So part 2, sis, we're going to speak about the family vacays tradition that
Ooh,
you started.
yeah.
Yes. And a whole lot more. This was lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this because
Yes.
we enjoyed it. I know you have a sister in your life that has also made an impact on you. Share this with her.
And also even sisters-in-laws, guys, like the sisters-in-laws have such a bad
bad rep.
reputation. And I think even the Rakhadis also,
Oh, yes.
they also have a very bad reputation. And not everybody gets into your life to ruin your life.
That's so
you
true.
you may have a brother who's maybe even now getting married to somebody new or dating somebody new. look at them with a positive light. Not everybody is, I mean, yes, sure, there are some who are literally there to ruin your lives. But there are good people out there who really just want to build. So give people the opportunity to open up. Give people the opportunity to show you who they are. And we say this a lot in the family. Look at the fruits of the people. Like, you know, an apple can only give you apples. An apple tree can only give you an apple. So if they claim to be a good person, look at the fruit. Are they kind? Are they a blessing? Are they helpful? Do they speak words of encouragement? Those are the things that you look out for. And if the person does not match up with the character that they claim to be, then maybe you should ask questions. But if you can see there's a match, if you can see that, wait a minute, this is just a person who's here to build and they're here to uplift, then be warm. Open up, because we could have chosen not to open up and we could have missed out on like one of the biggest gifts in our lives. So open up. It can only be fun from there, literally. It's just fun having another sister in your life.
Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.